guard 6'6" graduating from Frankfort, North Carolina, number 4, James.
What is up, you guys? Wowee. What a week that we had for sure with UH men's basketball, because the UH men's basketball team managed to turn back Manhattan and Utah Tech to win back-to-back Outrigger Rainbow Classics for the first time in 20 years. It's been a long time since they did that, but they pulled it off. And as you can see by these scores here, they were very good scores. UH beats Manhattan in a landslide, 86-56. And they beat Utah Tech in a chess match, 68-62. Doesn't get it. And that's it. The champs. Now, I'm going to start with the Manhattan game first. But first of all, guys, as you can see right here, remember, subscribe if you think that I'm worth listening to, or if you just want to see some more of my games. I will have one up, hopefully, before this week is over. But we'll see how this goes. But in the meantime, remember, subscribe. That's how the algorithm judges us, as Cooksey says. But I would really like a lot more subscribers. My goal is to get to 12K before this year is over. There's only about a month and a half left. But anyway, remember, subscribe. And with that being said, let's get into this. And there is my banner. UH defeats Manhattan and Utah Tech to win 2025 Rainbow Classic. Tanner Cuff officially out for 2025-26 season. Now, I'm going to get the bad news out of the way here first, or should I say the unfortunate news out of the way, because obviously it was confirmed on Tuesday that Tanner Cuff is out for this season because of knee surgery. And that's unfortunate, but what's double unfortunate is once you hear it's a knee injury, that usually means your year is over. But don't tell that to guys like Chad Reed and Supercross, because he's ridden with a bad knee as well. He's ridden with a twisted knee, and he's even ridden with some other stuff too, a separated shoulder. But still, but that's a different capacity. As far as basketball goes, Tanner Cuff officially out. I don't think anybody didn't see this coming, because, like I said, when you hear knees, that's usually a season-ending injury. I don't care what sport you're playing, okay? And if you're drafting for the NBA, that kind of stuff can really ruin you. And if you don't have a backup plan, you're going to be hooped. That's for sure. Tanner Cuff has said that he does plan to return next season, and he did exactly what I would have done. I would petition the NCAA for a medical red shirt year or a waiver, and hope that it will come through and he'll get to come back. But as for that kind of stuff happening, you don't really have to think that far back as far as situations like that taking place, because Juan Munoz is a classic example, because he was at UH for 3 seasons. He was supposed to be a one-and-doner in the 21-22 season, but unfortunately, he had knee surgery then, so he got a medical red shirt, and he came back the following year, but he only took part in the exhibition matchup against UH Hilo in the 22-23 season, and he ended up ended up with an Achilles injury. But he was seen warming up with the team, and he did send in a waiver to the NCAA, hoping that he would be granted another year. And it turns out he got it. And fortunately, Munoz had his season, and he did really well. He did really well as the point guard that season in 23-24, and he even led UH to some clutch victories. And as far as I can tell, this year, Hunter Erickson has definitely taken command of this ship with Tanner Cuff out. And that showed in the Manhattan game because he was a perfect 5 for 5 from the field. And now the Manhattan one, I wasn't too sure about. And although UH did win by a good margin the last time that happened, but granted, the last time that UH took on Manhattan was 2000, December 27th of 2000. And as I said, UH won that one. So they end up winning that one over Manhattan, 86-56. And that was punctuated when they went on a 28-5 run to end the first half. And they were able to cruise from that point on. And as a result, Manhattan could not get closer than 20. There you go. Come on, Isaac. Puts it up. Yes! So I would definitely give that game an A. But of course, they did have the quick turnaround to face Utah Tech on Saturday, November 15th. And UH had to do that, the Utah Tech game. They had to play that game without the services of Harry Rouhliadeff. Why? Because he made a layup or a putback layup in the first half against Manhattan, but he took a shoulder to the dome from a Manhattan player who was also an Australian native, just a little salt in the wounds on one side of the coin. And unfortunately, Rouhliadeff did not return in that game in Manhattan against Manhattan. And that was unfortunate for sure. But to be frank, UH didn't really need him, or at least in terms of trying to get the win. But could they have used Harry Rouhliadeff's services in Utah against Utah Tech? Absolutely. It's never timely when a guy goes down, especially if it's your team captain. But for UH, they were able to find someone else to really carry the flag with Rouhliadeff on the sidelines. Gitas Nemiksha was that guy. In his first start, he tallied 12 points against Utah Tech. Who led the scoring for Utah Tech? It was Dre Bullock with 23 points. And he accounted for UH's only triple of the game in the first half. And Utah Tech, however, they only made one triple themselves in the first half, but in the second half, they made 4. Whereas, in contrast, UH went 0 for 6. But at that time, you could kind of attribute that to 3 games in 4 days for both teams, rather. But still, UH was able to find some more answers, and they were able to come out to build a big lead and make sure that they were able to control it. And with Hunter Erickson not having the ideal scoring night that I'm sure a lot of us were hoping for, he still handled the ball control very, very well. And as far as the Utah Tech game goes, I would probably give that game a B+, mainly because they weren't that great from three-point range, making only 1 the entire game. But, of course, you can attribute that to 3 games in 4 days. And obviously, a quick turnaround, this is what you can expect in conference play, except it's 2 days turnaround and not a 24-hour turnaround. Okay? So, obviously, that game turned out to be a chess match between Utah Tech, But still, UH was just as stingy and managed to hold on to win that game. And had UH been a little bit better from three-point range, I might have been willing to give that an A, but still, obviously with 3 games in 4 days, I still went with a B+ because there were some times there where they did miss some bunnies. And of course, Dre Bullock did miss a couple of slam dunks, but he did get one in the second half that just erupted the Stan Sheriff Center crowd. And I'll tell you what, if Dre Bullock can pull off these good slam dunks, one wonders how good he'll do in conference play and if he could be a consistent lead scorer for the University of Hawaii. Now, last year, it was Gitas Nemicha who was the lead scorer, and that was when UH was kind of not having the ideal season. But as far as other guys go, aside from Dre Bullock, Isaac Johnson proved that he was the X factor in the Manhattan game because he went for 25 in that game, including 21 in the second half.
Come on. Oh! Woo! Yes! Woo!
And on top of that, Isaac Johnson was also 4 of 5 from three-point range. And if Johnson can pull off those kinds of performances in conference play, all of the opponents will have their hands full. I can guarantee that. And he even told the Corner Crew on Spectrum Sports that he believes that UH is an NCAA tournament-bound team. And for him to say that, I say he gets my vote for sure. I was a little bit unsure at first, but after seeing those 2 games, Manhattan and Utah Tech, I am just about convinced that this team has got what it takes to make the NCAA tournament. And if they don't, I don't know how that would have happened because obviously it is sports and things go the way that they do. But to see UH pull off these landslide wins, 2 out of 3, and win a chess match like Utah Tech, that shows that they got what it takes when conference play comes around. Now, obviously, it's not going to be easy, and conference opponents can give you a great shooting night, and then you'd have to be on par for sure. But I have a feeling that some of these droughts that UH has gone through with trying to get a win over some teams, or at least get a season sweep over, are going to be relieved once conference play comes around. Now, they obviously need to do better against Santa Barbara, but they've proven that they've gotten Santa Barbara's number. They just had to finish out. And unfortunately, last year, they didn't really have a guy to really depend on in crunch time, even though Ryan Rapp did try to be that guy, and props to him. But it seemed to me like last year, they kind of lacked that Juan Munoz kind of point guard. But now it looks like they've got that with Hunter Erickson and Tanner Cuff if he were out there. Now, Aaron Hunken-Clater is a sophomore, and I look for better things from him as the season goes on. He did come through with some good ball control, but when it comes down to crunch time, you got to hit your free throws, and Hunken-Clater didn't really do that. But still, Dre Bullock came to the rescue, and he was able to right that ship for sure. But obviously, this season is young. I fully expect that Aaron Hunken-Clater will become a better ball controller as the season goes on. So I wouldn't worry too much about this if I was Aaron Hunken-Clater. But still, he will get better at ball control as the season goes on. And who knows, if Hunter Erickson is down, maybe, just maybe, Aaron will be that go-to guy during crunch time. And that's where I'll leave it. So anyway, guys, that's all for today. Next time, UH will take on Arizona State. That will be on Thursday. That will be the test for sure, because Arizona State is really, really good. And in fact, all these programs are really good, so you really can't count them out. Even though UH did win by landslides over Mississippi Valley State and, of course, over Manhattan, and they were able to win a close one with Utah Tech, that tells me that they got what it takes. So hopefully they'll do that. And a reminder, remember, guys, subscribe. I'll see you all for after Arizona State. Go Bows, and we'll see you all again.
Doesn't get it. And that's it. The champs.
Congratulations to the winners of the Outrigger Classic.